Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Movie Magic Show for Wednesday, the 17th of November, 2021. I am one of your hosts, Shane Bailey, joined by my wickedly talented cast. To my right, always managing to ruin the stream somehow. Loves his VR and shaking his hips like Shakira. Please welcome the era of Jason Mira.
Hello, everyone. One time. Oh, yep. Yep.
To his right, it's the dulcet tones in your headphones, here to engineer a sincere atmosphere, Terry Fear.
Indubitably.
And to his right, it's the film for lating, TV show hating, thought elaborating, Mr. Movies, Ben Stapleton.
Hey.
Love it.
How are we, gents? Jason, what were you doing? What were you doing trying to ruin my stream?
Okay, so, like, every now and then my neighbors will just cut it out into karaoke. And then, like, echoes through the stairwell, and the stairwell's right there. So I was soundproofing it, and I looked over at the countdown. It's like, oh, I've still got time. I'm going to get a drink. So I decided to pour myself some eggnog, because, you know, it is the season. And, you know, you can only get eggnog for, like, a month and a half, and then they take it away from you the whole year. So you've got to get it when you can. So now I've got eggnog, and then
Where do you get eggnog? I have to make it.
I went to Woolworths, yeah.
I think Coles sell it as well. They have
the normal eggnog, the Bundaberg rum eggnog, and the Bailey's one. So I got that Bailey's.
Yeah,
nice.
Paul's the brand that does the custard. Paul's make it, but you can make it yourself as well year round. There's nothing to prevent you from making it yourself.
Cool.
So nothing stopping you from making a giant ham all year round. So.
Well, I mean, you don't make a ham so much as you purchase one.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That was my problem. I wanted to do a ham, I wanted to get a leg. You just, through the year, they're hard to get because they all stock in Christmas.
I forget the saying, but there was a quote, I forget where I heard it, something along the lines of, your life begins the day you realize you can have cake without it being anyone's birthday.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I like that.
That's your real first birthday.
Yeah.
How are you, Mr. Fear?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. I had a pretty good day at work.
I like how
got
you're
up
doing
nice
a
and early.
cosplay of the moon on your wall.
I just need to paint like trees on my face. Camouflage.
Like, where's Terry?
No. I made the absolute best pancakes of my life today.
I saw those pancakes. They look like
I don't
at a restaurant.
Yeah, they were so fluffy. I had my dad's voice in my ear saying, "Now don't overmix it and let it hydrate." And so I did. I barely whisked it, so it was just combined. There was so many lumps in it. I was like, "Ugh." But I left it for like 40 minutes, well, maybe half an hour to hydrate, and then just quarter cup scooped it. Oh, just perfect, chef's kiss.
Nice.
When you were mixing it up and letting it hydrate, were you like, hydrate?
Hail hydrate. No, I was like, I really hope I get to eat some of these before my shift starts because it was cutting it close.
Nice.
Yeah. And how are you, Mr. Movies?
I didn't make any pancakes. I'm kind of sad now.
Oh, I saw you made some bacon.
Oh yeah, I made tons of bacon.
Bacon for some bacon.
Yep.
I love bacon.
Yeah, something like 7 kilograms of the stuff.
Oh my.
Yeah. I literally was like pushing it into the smoker to close the lid. The lid wouldn't close properly. I was stacking it in so much. That's Christmas. My Christmas supply is
nice.
Gonna last me all through Christmas.
Yeah, nice. I need to have some of your bacon, Ben.
Yeah, come around. Come over.
Still,
I'll be there.
Watch movies.
Might do that.
Speaking of movies, this is the Movie Magic Show. If you're joining us for the first time, every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, we chuckleheads get together to love, like, bash, and trash the latest the entertainment world has to offer. If you like that, be sure to follow us here on Twitch. Catch all our past episodes on my YouTube channel. Just search Magic Casts, all one word, on YouTube. And follow us on Twitter at Movie Magic Show. We'll notify you when we're going live and which films we will be reviewing this week. Those films are Labor Day, a 2013 drama from one of my favorite directors, Jason Reitman, and No Time to Die, the long-awaited 5th Daniel Craig Bond film, finally graced the silver screen here in Australia. So we went to see that, and we shall be reviewing that. But before we get to those reviews, let's set up our end games. These are games we like to play at the end of the show. First among them are our movie quotes. We're going to give you 2 film quotes. You need to guess which films they're from. I'm going to The Dulcet Tones of Terry Fear for movie quote number 1.
Movie quote number 1, no inflection, no voice. Boy, I am 2 seconds from being on you like white on rice in a glass of milk on a paper plate in a snowstorm.
That's a lot of white.
And movie quote number 2, Mr. Movies.
We move 5-meter spread, no sound.
I know
Ooh,
this.
I know this.
I know this one.
We move 5-meter spread, no sound.
That's exactly what I want. You know that I've just like bowled a strike when
You
three
have.
people
Yes,
go like,
this is
"Oh,
true.
I know it, but what is it?" That's exactly what I want.
Yeah, you don't want no idea.
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
is-
never heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next.
would not have
And the other thing you
phobias.
don't want as well is like, I know it, obviously.
Easy.
You know, you don't want that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
No, you're actually dead on there. It's my first thought was, and this isn't it, but Saving Private Ryan, as they're approaching the beach, Sergeant Horvath saying, "I want to see plenty of beach between men." That quote. I don't know the rest of it, but that reminded me of it. And the other game we're going to set up, our other end game, pardon me, is 6 Degrees. We're going to give you 2 actors. You need to try and link them via actors that they've starred alongside. Jason, which 2 actors are we connecting today?
All right, so I didn't really have a theme this week, so we are connecting Liev Schreiber
Liev Schreiber.
with Uma Thurman.
Uma's Thurmans.
Nice.
Uma's Thurmans.
We know them. We know them. That helps.
We know them.
We know
Yep.
their movies.
Yeah, we know those Thurmans well.
Alrighty,
Yep.
we will provide solutions to those, I should say, at the very end of the show. Before we get to the end of the show, let's get to the start of the show with our first review, and it is going to be of Labor Day. It is a 2013 American drama film written and directed by Jason Reitman, the Oscar-nominated Canadian writer-director best known for Up in the Air and Juno. He also had a hand in producing the Best Picture-nominated Whiplash, and is set to direct the soon-to-be-released Ghostbusters Afterlife. Labor Day is based on the 2009 novel of the same name by Joyce Maynard. It stars Kate Winslet as Adele Wheeler, a depressed single mother to her 13-year-old son Henry, played by Gatlin Griffith. Winslet's co-star this time is Josh Brolin, who plays Frank Chambers, the nicest escaped convict you'll ever meet. J.K. Simmons, Clark Gregg, and Tobey Maguire also star. Notably, Rolf Kent served as composer on the film, and Eric Steelberg was the cinematographer, both of whom worked with Reitman in the same roles on his 2009 film, Up in the Air. The film favorably, why did I write that? I can't English. I was writing this at the end of the day. I blame 5 o'clock. With the general public earning an IMDb rating of 7.1, whereas critics weren't as impressed, ending up with an average Metascore of 52. Gentlemen, take a stab at the Rotten Tomatoes.
62.
It can't be 55 or less.
I'm gonna go a solid 70.
Rotten, 35%.
Oh,
It's off.
wow.
Right,
That is a big ouchie.
taking a
What's
wallop
wrong
to
with-
the gut,
What's wrong with
making him
people?
vomit up all that peach pie. Yeah,
I'll say this is the first time I'll say it, and I'm gonna say it again. Kids ruin everything.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
probably what's
Chil-
contributing to
children critics.
They'll go in like,
critics.
oh, I don't know what this is about. Let's watch it, and then they trash it. So
Yeah.
You'd be so cruel. We can? Like,
Yeah.
Mr. Mirror, am I correct? We've all seen this film.
Yeah,
We reviewed it
just this week.
actually way back in 2013 when it released cinematically on our previous podcast called The Awesome Addiction. Don't bother looking it up. You can't find any more episodes. And I was keen to revisit this. I can't remember how it popped up. I think we mentioned it in like a movie actor go. And immediately I was like, I haven't seen that film in 8 years.
Yeah,
Need to
because
revisit
you guys were talking about Kate Winslet in The
it.
Dressmaker.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah, we
Kate
were.
Winslet last week reviewed The Dressmaker, also starring Winslet. I recalled that Labor Day was something we enjoyed 8 years ago. So understanding that Mr. Fear and Mr. Movies have seen this one before, Jason, I want to go to you first. What did you think of the
Yeah,
first
so
screening of Labor Day?
It was about 20 minutes ago. I just rolled credits on it, and yeah, man, I've had an emotional day as it is. Right, it's been a long day. I had my cluster manager visit and everything. So it's just been a long day. And so by the end of this film, I just wanted to cry. Just like, like the ugly cry you don't want people to see, because you can cry
As
in the
opposed to those cries you want everyone to.
I mean the
Yeah, of
cry
course. Yeah.
as opposed to the cries that you don't mind people seeing. So
Right.
instead
Yeah.
of you'll be at the movies and you go, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Let's go get burgers or something. No,
Yeah.
this is the type of cry that I wanted to go.
Uncontrollable drool, snot, and tears.
Yeah, like-
I'm picking up what you're
Like Russell Crowe in Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a sob. It's like a,
Yeah.
I'm not crying.
But like,
It's like the 8-year-olds crying. He said that I was ugly. Yeah.
Not quite that bad. But let me also say that I'm not crying because it was a bad movie. I'm crying because it's an emotional film. I guess for me, it was an emotional film. I think starting from the start is the best place to start. I think the thing that struck me the most was the score. Already, just like the atmosphere and the mood that it's setting. Just driving through the opening credits, literally seeing the scenic, quiet America, whatever part of America it is very nice. And
It was late
Tell
80s.
us.
I'll see if I can find the.
yeah,
They
thank
do.
you.
I'm pretty sure they say where they are.
But wherever it is, it
Can't
looks
remember.
beautiful.
I'm pretty sure they border Canada. It's one of the northern states, like Montana
Oh.
or something like that.
Missouri or anyway,
Wherever
it is.
Anyway.
Wherever it is, it's good. It looks good. And then the music, as the music starts playing, I'm thinking to myself, it's gonna be one of those movies. And throughout the whole film, there's very little dialogue, and a lot of it is told by what you're seeing on screen and by the music. A lot of movies nowadays, I think I've harped on about this the last couple of my reviews. Like, they treat you like an idiot and they explicitly tell you this is what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
You see this person? This is how he's feeling. Sadness is what he's feeling right
you've
now.
got not subtitles. What's that other thing?
Closed captions.
Closed captions on, but
Yeah.
you don't.
It's
Yeah.
like deeply emotional music.
Yes, he sighs sadly. It's like I
Yeah,
saw it.
I saw- yeah.
it.
And heard. I saw and heard. Thank you.
And so the whole film is just like a really great atmosphere piece. And like, it makes me interested to know that Joyce Maynard wrote this as well. I'm really interested to see how it's translated on page, and how I almost went to go say Ivan Reitman, Jason Reitman went to rewrite it for the screenplay to adapt it to what we saw on the screen as well. And like, I doubt that there's a lot that he cut out of the actual novel as well to fit into the screenplay, because it's like a pretty small contained film. I mean, like, production on this must not have been that expensive. They would have spent they would have spent all their money, and it's pretty evident they spent all their money on the casting. Like,
I thought you were going to say the peaches.
That's what I was
getting
gonna
ready to laugh. I was getting ready to laugh
Bloody
so hard.
peaches.
All their budget on those peaches.
God,
A
those
lot of
peaches
peaches.
look-
How ripe too.
Millions.
Also,
of
they had to get J.K.
pieces.
Simmons to deliver them. He would have been expensive.
Yeah.
exactly. And like, what? How long is Tobey Maguire in there? Like a couple of minutes.
Well, he
And-
narrates a lot of it.
Narrates
Like that's
a lot of it,
that's.
Does he? Is he
yeah.
actually narrating? Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that
I
makes
was
a
like-
lot of.
That sounds like Tobey Maguire. And then when you see him grown up, I'm like, it was.
Maybe Tobey Maguire is perpetually a child in my mind. So when I was hearing him, narrate,
This is true. This is true.
but it's the whole film, like when you first meet Frankie, Josh Brolin's character, you have no idea what's going to happen. But like, even the expression on the kid's face and the expression on Adele's face, Kate Winslet's character, you can kind of tell that, okay, this isn't going to turn out as violent as what you think it's going to be. And then when you find out that he's an escaped convict, your mind goes to immediately he's a bad person, right? And then as we find out, he's not that bad of a person, right? I mean, to the law, he's done bad things, but as a character, like his character is not that much of what the fuck am I saying? Anyway, yeah. So like, as I'm sitting there watching everything unfold in front of me, I'm seeing a lot of images, right? And like, the pictures, 1,000 words, and all that kind of jazz. I feel like I'm harping on a lot of things that are just easily. What am I saying? It's been a long day.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's like
We can pass
agree
it
with
over, so you can
everything
jump
you
in
just
if
said.
you.
I think you get that little bit of time with Adele, and I can't even remember like puny kid's name. What's his name? Henry. Yeah. You get a little bit of time with them, and you kind of see what type of woman she is and what type of boy he is as well. Trying to look after his mum. Man, like, yeah, that little kid, looking after his mum, so freaking cool. Some of the stuff he's doing for her. That was, but then he's still a little shit later. Yeah, and then as Frank enters their lives, just for like that moment of time, I can recall a few moments in time that of my life that have completely changed, the way that I think about things or the way I look about things, and I think the way that this story is told, it's told through Henry's eyes, right? And a lot of the times you'll go follow him and you won't even see what's happening with the top 2 billing actors of the film, right? It's 100% his point of view of this weekend, this story that's happened to him, which I think is a really bold decision to, like, have Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin there, but like not really have them as the focus. It's like, what was that movie? It had Tom Hiddleston in it. It was a ghost movie. Del Toro either directed or produced it. But like the line at the start of the film is like, one of the lines at the start of the film, like this story is about is a ghost story, but that's not to say it's about the ghosts. It's a story with ghosts in it.
I know this movie.
It's really interesting. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, so it was great. So yeah, and this is like, this story is about these 2 adults, but it's not about these 2 adults. It's about Henry and like how this moment in life completely changed not only his life, but also the mother's life as well. And you can see that in some of the things that Frank is doing with the kid. And the jumps in time back and forward, and yes, Crimson Peak. Thanks, Twiggy, you're the best. Yeah, jumps
Twiggy
back
rocks.
and forth. You can see, and like the time jumps as well. I was confused as to whose point of view I was looking at. Was I looking at Frank's? Was I looking at Henry's? Is this Henry when he was older or whatever? And I found that it was a really interesting dynamic, because it kind of didn't. It didn't throw me off in the sense that like it's confused, like it was jarring. It was like, okay, they're kind of similar, and you can see the similarities and the like some of the things that Frank is showing Henry to do, and how he kind of learnt how to do that kind of stuff, and kind of like mentoring him to be a gentleman, and living through his life and that kind of stuff. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I could kind of see where things would like go wrong with the whole interactions with the town. It's like, oh, okay, this could happen, or this could happen with the neighbor, or this could happen at the bank, or something like that, which I thought was really interesting. Potential pinch points that was really interesting. But yeah, I think because I feel like I'm waffling on, so I better wrap myself up. I think this isn't the type of movie you watch for like great action or great moments, like huge moments in the film. You watch it for solid acting. You watch it for the music. You watch it for the atmosphere, and yeah, really interesting character development. Like I think I messaged someone after watching it. It's like, Kate Winslet is a really great actress in this film, and Josh Brolin is such a great presence on screen. This is a really good film, even if you're not like a if you no, actually no, let me spin that right. If you like film and you like the art of and the craft of film, I think this is a really important film to watch because it's nothing too overly complicated.
Yeah.
There's like, I think like I said, the most expensive things that they spent was on the casting. Everything else is so simple. They just needed to get the right period piece, like vehicles and clothes. But yeah, everything else seemed really simple to film. All you just had to block it off, get the actors to know their script, and rehearse, and like, and then you get awesome in front of you.
Pretty sure that's how Reitman sort of describes it as well.
That's,
Yeah.
that's how you explain the whole post-production process.
Well, that's how Juno happened, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I recommend watching this. If you don't really like the slow type of films, the quieter type of films, maybe skip this one. But like for me, watching this after the type of day I had, I was very happy to like slow down and just like absorb this story. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what you guys thought of it.
Yeah, I might jump in before I throw to the other two, just with some quick thoughts to try and set up the conversation. And the one thing that you just you've sort of allowed me to sort of conclude with my viewing, which I just wrapped up not 20 minutes ago.
Doesn't Jason do a great job of that? Like he's saying all these things. The same thing happened to me, and I'm like, yes, that's what I was trying to get to in my head. Like I'm like, yeah, he just tied off that thought perfectly, or he's like, oh, that's
thread.
where I was going. Yeah, with this other thought that I couldn't finish. Of course, this makes more sense now.
Like our lighthouse, Jason. You bring us
shining the way or threading the needle so that we might sow a tapestry or something.
So, what you allowed me to the conclusion you made me to, you drew me to, Jason, was the one word that I would use to describe this film, the story, the acting, the journey that you go on as an audience member is gentle. It's a very gentle.
Oh, that's a very great word for it. Yeah.
It's to your point, Jason. There's no bombast here. It is all just a very like a Woody Allen film, a very simple tale across Labor Day weekend, with a very peculiar and extraordinary set of circumstances between these very well fleshed out and well portrayed characters by Winslet, Griffith, and Brolin.
And even just the button, just even at the climax, you don't even see the police cars or whatever like pull up in there. It's all like alluded to. You can hear them in the distance. You don't really need to see it. You just stick with your characters. That's all happening. You can kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah. With Reitman as well, like I think back on Up in the Air, which I've seen easily a dozen times at this point.
What a movie.
Is just very like the opposite of heavy-handed filmmaking. It's very elegant, very particular, everything done with purpose. And that's what I walk away with this one as well. But I'm keen to punt it over to Mr. Fear. Dulcet tones. Tell us what you think of Labor Day.
Well, I need to correct you. I didn't see this back in 2013.
So
it was a fresh viewing for me on Monday night.
Straight out of the oven. Yes, I'm going to go with as many pie things as I can. I've got to echo some of the things that you guys have said. I like the idea of that light touch, and it's very, very digestible. This film's very easy to follow. There's not a lot of moving parts to kind of get lost in. Brilliant presence from the actors. It's a very human story. And I gotta say, he's the luckiest and the nicest escaped convict in the world. Like, he found the kid who's quiet, who has divorced parents in a supermarket on a Saturday Labor Day weekend. And his mother also happens to be like an agoraphobe, or on the edge of like agoraphobia because of like troubled history things to do with like social pressures around being a mother. And they're just super compliant and also equally lovely. So it's
super lucky. Very easy to follow, super digestible. Love the atmosphere. Definitely good period accurate kind of clothes, architecture, like cars, all of that sort of stuff is
I remember
kind
that
of
was,
like
that was a
bang
point
on.
we mentioned back in 2013. Yeah,
Yeah, it
the set
was
design and amazing.
really nice.
Mm.
And so that was good. I kind of watching this film reminded me of a different film from back in the 90s. I had to look it up because I'd forgotten the name of it. It's a Kevin
Princess
Costner film.
Oh.
No, Kevin Costner film directed by Clint Eastwood called A Perfect World. It's a 1993 film. Similar kind of premise in that you've got an escaped convict, kidnaps a kid, and they're on the run. The movie basically takes place in the vehicle of the getaway car, and they develop this kind of mateship bond that unfortunately unfolds more tragically for the escaped convict, which is Kevin Costner in this case. But I'm glad this film was not like that. When I realized what it was, I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be so sad. It's gonna be like he's gonna become a fixture. And as he starts to do things around the house, like he's fixing the stairs, he's fixing the plumbing, like he's just doing all of these things really helpfully around the house, and like cooking and like showing them how to cook, and I will say just a couple of things about the baking. As someone who has made pies and is looking very much forward to making pumpkin pie when our autumn rolls around. I've got a tin of pumpkin puree that I'm getting from my brother from Costco in time for autumn.
At your place that weekend, sir.
It's the description that Brolin goes through is 100% bang on. Super important that your butter is as cold as possible, and the water that you drizzle in should be ice water, and the hydration rates will differ based on humidity, so you want to do it little bits at a time until you get the shaggy dough. You compact it together, you put that sucker in the fridge, keep it as cold as possible, and like all of that stuff that they said, correct. What unfolded on the screen, however, was a tragedy. It was absolutely just tragic.
It's like he gets home from work, the director gets home from work, he's like, I can't believe I made actors make a pie and filmed it. I can't believe it.
It is a hot mess. It is a shaggy, hot, sweaty mess. The dough is not in a good condition. They have not paid attention to how cold it needed to be kept, and it's just fallen to bits. But it was a really fun bonding moment for the family, and I was able to set aside my disgust for the physical appearance of the pastry, for the kinship that was shared.
See, this is where
with the characters.
My blissful ignorance comes in, because I looked at it today. I'm like, that looks delicious.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that kid's gonna make a whole empire from that experience.
Yeah, it's interesting that it turned out okay. I liked it. I was really surprised to see some of the the actors in this film, like Agent Coulson, deep undercover with a fake family, and seeing J.K. Simmons. I was like, holy shit,
man.
it's J.K. Simmons. Like, what the heck?
I wish they didn't have the
he's-
credits at the start.
I wasn't
Right?
paying attention.
Oh,
attention.
no.
I had that
Yeah.
exact thought in Bond. We'll get to Bond. But
Yeah.
I had that. Like,
Yes.
I was literally like looking away. Like, I want to see the title sequence because that's always
Yeah. It
Like,
is
whoever,
usually-
Really?
whoever thought
You're
to
gonna
make a
like
double
block it
helix
with your
out of
hands,
guns?
Ben. You're just like
This is what I was
I like
doing.
that.
I was focusing in the center, and then whenever I'd see like words, I'd look down in the other corner. I saw like Anna de Armas. I'm like, fuck, guys. Everyone's
So
older,
funny.
Good guy.
What else did I think about
I
the
just
film?
imagine Ben quietly swearing in the cinema. Everyone's
Yeah,
like,
I
what the hell is that guy
was.
going? Just every 5 seconds. Shit.
Yeah, I was whispering swears myself. How could you read that name on the opening credits?
Correct. Like, shame on you. Yeah. I'm surprised at the response that Jason has for the kid, because like I totally understand it. Like one of my favorite movies one of my favorite moments in the movie is where they basically drop on him that they're gonna make for the border, and he's just like, but what about me? Like he's feeling left out and cut out because he's already dealt with like his dad leaving him and abandoning him. And like, it's not really well fleshed out until the dad apologizes for cutting out on him. But like, because up until that point, the dad's still semi-present. They kind of go to places together. They're at the dinner at was it Arby's that they went to?
Yeah, some kind of diner.
I can't remember. It was one of the chain restaurants in the
milkshakes.
States. Yeah, and they you know, had this family thing, but he apologizes for cutting out. I'm like, that makes his reaction make more sense. If they had maybe spent a little bit more time establishing his feelings of abandonment from his dad, if they'd made that a little clearer, it would have made it make a lot more sense. But it is still one of my favorite moments, because he's so relieved when he's told that he's coming with them. He's like, oh, great, okay, so I'm not going to be alone, like by myself or abandoned. And then his decision to leave a note for his dad equally makes sense, because he doesn't want his dad to feel abandoned, and he doesn't want his dad to worry about him. So it makes sense that he would do that, because
That's why you leave a note
that,
in the house.
sure,
right.
you know, but he's a kid. He's a 13-year-old kid, right? He's
What
going
an
into
idiot.
grade 7. Sure, he doesn't have the intelligence, or maybe the emotional intelligence to plan ahead this thing, and he wasn't really consulted on the escape plan. He just, you know, did his chores, helped move, and then told immediately the young girl that's new in town everything. So I will say,
I want to see a movie where this kid plans a heist.
yeah,
He robs the bank, he pulls it off somehow, and then he's just talking to people like, so I just came into all this money and I'm just wondering how to do it. It's like,
yeah. Well, it was just like, how do I prevent it
Like,
from being like reportable?
confesses to it, like he writes
Yeah.
a note and just like gives it to somebody. Like, what are you doing, kid?
It's
Keep
like the
something
bank
to
teller
yourself, could you?
gonna tries to deposit it into a bank without laundering it in any way, shape, or form.
He
The bank
really
teller's like,
walks in
"Where'd you
with
get
the
this?"
big
It's like,
stacks of
"Oh,
money
yeah, I
with
robbed a
the
bank."
dollar sign on it. Yeah, he
'Cause,
walks
yeah,
in with
just
the
like
same,
when they withdraw all the money. He's like, "Yeah, we're just, you know, making a border dash."
I got this gold bar. You think this is worth anything? Yeah, it's like,
So it's where he's like a bag of cash that has the die that's exploded to say that it's like stolen money. He's like, I found this outside. Yeah, anyway. Not the smartest kid, but emotionally, I tracked with where he was at, and I felt that quite moving. Kate Winslet's situation absolutely rocked me. I enjoyed the movie so much that I almost immediately recommended that I watch it with Jen, or that Jen watch it with me again at some point over the next week or two. But because of our inability to have a family, I'm like super conscious of that when I see it in films. And so I'm like, when I had the thought, I'll tell Jen we should watch it, 30 seconds later, I'm like, you're an idiot, because that's just going to destroy Jen, because it has like this inability to expand on the existing family, and she's just shredded by it. Like she's like literally destroyed by this inability to provide more children. And they try so many times, and I'm like, it is so risky when you know that there are complications in conception and birth, like, and they tried it like 4 or 5 or 6, like however many times, and to carry all the way to the term, like to essentially full term, and to give birth, it's really, really rough, very, very devastating. The fact that she's standing and upright and has any love to give anyone is astounding. But Josh Brolin as Frank is definitely worth that. Like, I think he did a really good job, and I love the cutbacks to his past. I wasn't sure what was happening at first. I'm like, wow,
Yeah, same.
that guy looks a hell of a lot like Josh Brolin. Because I thought it was her having flashbacks of her courtship with her husband as this relationship is unfolding. And I'm dead. That was like you're an idiot, Terry. This is Josh Brolin's past.
That's a costume sin, Terry. They had the dad in a similar shirt, like similar yellow creamy shirt, and he was wearing a silly yellow. But then all the other flashbacks, it's just like white tank top, because he's in like a white shirt the whole movie.
Yeah.
And they do all the other flashbacks, right? It's just the first one.
Just
They've
the
got
first
him
one.
in
Must
the
have
white
thrown
shirt,
me.
but with like another button-up shirt over the top, and he looks more like he's dressed like the
Yeah.
runaway dad or whatever.
Yeah. And so I liked the throwbacks to give context to his journey, and the crescendo of that is kind of the yin and yang coupling to Kate Winslet's character Adele, where she had love to give, but someone who wanted more family members and couldn't deal with the damage that she was feeling because of the incapability for that, and he had been taken advantage of by someone who he thought loved him but really just wanted a baby daddy because she was a loose woman. And when he realizes that, he's just gutted, and he's still devastated by the loss of his family, even though, yeah, I don't know, we've kind of spoiled a bunch of things. He didn't murder her.
The movie's come out. What?
It was
how
an
many years ago?
accidental. It was an accidental death. So
He
definitely a
murdered
wrongful
the
death.
crap out of that woman. She got well murdered.
She got shoved and she hit her face on a radiator as she fell down. And she'd been drinking, so like that's in there. I'm not saying that it's her fault that he shoved her, but like, she wasn't nice and he didn't mean to kill her. He was angry and he shoved her. It was unfortunate. But he also happened to drown his baby because of this altercation that was unfolding.
So he's
Spoilers,
just like in the heat of
everyone.
the moment, and he forgets two important things: how long babies can hold their breath, and where the radiator is in the house.
Well, yeah, how not to
The fact that
shove a
there's
woman.
radiator
Yeah.
right behind his wife.
How,
right
it's
now,
like he
whatever.
forgot how to deal with anger, and he forgot that babies can't hold their breath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
those were his two big mistakes. Yeah, but I still like that he was caught and that he ended up serving his time, but that there was still redemption for him relationally. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot about this film that I really do like. It is concise. It's shot really, really well. The character Gatlin Henry is a mixed bag of, like, I like this kid and this kid frustrates me, which I think is good because kids are like that.
Frustrating.
Yeah, well, no, sometimes kids are great. Like hanging out with
Never
like my nephew. That's like, sometimes that's the best. He's a great kid to hang around, and other times he's kind of annoying, and that's okay because he's a kid. And Gatlin's the same. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, good on you, Gatlin, or Henry. But then the rest of the time I'm like, just shut up and quit up. Just go to your room. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Nice.
Love it.
Ben, over to you, my friend.
I'll try and be quick. I had fun with this one.
So she
I've
said.
seen it. It's like, thank you. Chase. Just about to praise you for your review earlier. I forgive me because a lot of these are going to sound like nitpicks, but the context for this is I've seen this movie. I love this movie. I've praised this movie already. The second viewing here, I was having fun. I was just having fun with all the things. And you guys know how sometimes, like, I'm at my most proudest of myself when I have like a weird take on a movie, and I've developed a weird take for this one, which is like it's a movie about the world, like this dense kid who is a weak soul who like is in a very moving story. Like he's the storyteller, and he's the weakest character by far. And I love that they make a great movie around it, because it's like he doesn't grow up to, well, first of all, let's address the fact that we've already spoken about his denseness a little bit. Let's talk about the fact that he is not going to be a scientist because he is drawing conclusions with no data points. Like, he's just been told by this random girl that he's coming in to kick you out. Like, your mum's got a new boyfriend. Oh, well, they just want you out of the way so that they can have sex, and they're just going to move on without you or whatever. And he's just believing that is what's happening, where every fact is to the opposite. Like, if he was just basing his conclusions on what has actually happened, he wouldn't be in this mess that he's put himself in. So no, he's not going to be any kind of scientist. And at the same time, one weekend with this alpha male guy defines this kid's whole life. Like, he joins the the baseball team.
Yeah, joins the little league.
He joins the little league baseball team. He just runs with that pie recipe that they made on the Saturday, and that's his career now. He's a pie guy.
Takes a girl on a date and just knows how to fix the car.
Yeah,
he knows to fix the car thing exactly. So he doesn't have, he doesn't have his own core beliefs or drives, or he doesn't have a passion that he's going to follow.
He's co-opted.
What his alpha surrogate dad character should have done, was trying to do, is say you're a good kid, believe in yourself, don't let anybody tell you any differently, become your own man, and be a good person going forward. And instead, he's just I'm going to be just like him. I'm going to do everything that he did. He told me all these things. I'm going to do them.
I'm going to keep doing them.
You can imagine
Not
by
that
the
there's
end,
anything necessarily wrong with that.
If they were to meet up, he would have been like, look what I did. All those things you taught me.
Yeah. You're one of those pies? I can make one now. Just whenever I want.
I'll put it in order. Won't cost me anything.
One of the first points I wrote down here in my notes when I was watching was that the score, especially at the start, was so, really plays on the nerve of what is going to happen. What is happening with this stranger who's he puts his hand around Henry's neck and he's like, let me just be straight with you, this has to happen. You need to give me a lift. That's what's happening, and it's terrifying. So props to Jason for bringing up the score, because I was like, that was the intro, that was the inception into the beacons are lit, thing where you got my attention because you said something exactly the way I was going to say it, and then you got my curiosity for later. No, it's the other way around, isn't it? Oh, crap. I was trying to do the Django Unchained quote.
You have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
So I've talked about that fucking idiot protagonist kid. My note for your favorite bit, Terry. Oh, it's a great bit. Absolutely. Is the will I ever see you again? Just LOL. He's teary. I'm just so. I laughed so hard when that happened again. So I was like, idiot. What is your kid doing? Of course, when she says, we're going to Canada, of course she means we. All.
It's not just the royal we. Yeah.
So good. Oh, and the biggest thing. Okay, I'll get off the kid in just a sec. This is the biggest thing for the kid. He diagnoses his mum, at the start of the movie, how she's heartbroken and can't get out, and she's just shut off from the world. And he says, I could feel her loneliness and longing before I had a name for it. And I was like, that is a line, and I wrote that down because I just quoted it to you. So I wrote that down at the very start of the movie. I was like, hey, I wrote it down. And then by the end, I was like, that kid doesn't understand his mother at all. He doesn't get that it's not the lack of love that she's missing. She lost a baby. It is
multiple
a traumatic thing that physically could happen to you and emotionally happen to you, and he doesn't mention that at all. Well, he doesn't mention it at all from a plot-based perspective, because we're going to explore that as it's reminisced or whatever.
He might not know it.
Yeah, but again, that feeds into my new take, where it's this kid is a brick. He is leaving notes to his dad hours before the getaway. Stop this. You better read this note now. And he goes and delivers it to his dad. Brings a policeman home. Oh my God. Yeah, why doesn't he just I don't know, leave a hot tip to a reporter?
I've got an anonymous tip. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I got this. No. Here's a funny one. Did you guys get? Oh, I loved this. Did you guys remember that Josh Brolin, when they're all packing up, right? He comes to Henry's room and he's packing all of his toys and stuff, and he says, "Just half."
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
He's like, half only, like that, and then he walks out. I'm like, Thanos.
Thanos, yeah, I did. Yes.
Oh, amazing! I did not make that connection.
No, I didn't either.
Balanced.
That was great.
Perfectly balanced. We leave half of our shit behind, and we take half of it with us to Canada. Perfect balance.
Wow.
That's should be.
That's amazing.
That was one of my favorite points. That I saw that. I was like, yeah, it's just like Thanos. Oh, I loved how they made that the mother of the disabled kid like the worst villain with like 2 minutes of
Yeah.
screen time. She nailed that
She
role.
did,
Like how
Yeah.
she first of all she
Oh
doesn't
my
knock and she just
God.
bursts into the house and it's just like, are you
Yeah.
here? Are you here? And it's like, lady, what the fuck? It's
Yeah,
like not even...
get the fucking
Yeah,
house.
no, that's period perfect. I liked that because that's what people used to do. They would just walk in because they're neighbors, and you were close to your neighbors, and you would do that to them.
The
Yeah,
door's
that's
unlocked,
true.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they also used to just say, hey, watch my kid. I'm going,
Yeah.
you know, we're going out. We don't like nobody had babysitters that they like. There was no
No.
babysitter that you paid. It was like your
Not
older
until the kids grew up.
kid, or yeah, exactly. The
I have
oldest kid would
friends
babysit
across the
others.
road. I wouldn't knock on the door. I'd just walk in their garage because it was always just open into
Yeah.
the
Right.
backyard, and yeah, they were out there.
Wow,
Yeah.
what type of houses you? Like, we locked that shit up at home. No one's coming in. It's like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out. You're like in the front yard now.
Random.
That's-
I remember
That's
actually,
friends about-
I have memories of my dad like at the window, like, where his kids were.
Paranoid dad.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I have maybe a bit of a take on why it's got such a bad Rotten Critics score. It's like I tried to describe this movie like a week ago or so to Caitlin, and I'm like, okay, so it's like about this this guy who escapes from prison, and he takes this mother and son hostage in their house, and then it's a love story. And she's like,
Did you write the IMDb synopsis, Ben? Is that you?
and then she said, more like a Stockholm syndrome story, if am I right? And props, but
Fair play.
yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
The thing is that if I watched this with Caitlin, she probably wouldn't like it. I would probably hear her eyes rolling throughout whenever he would do his alpha stuff. Like he would insist that this is how you do a thing, whatever it is. And I actually started with a you can't make this movie anymore kind of a thing. You know how there are movies where they just have a bad, like they're on the wrong side of history when it comes to like gay people or whatever, and they're saying things, or they're just dropping the N-word left, right, and center or whatever, and you just can't get away from it.
Can't make that movie anymore.
Can't make that movie anymore. I had a semi-joking, you can't make that movie anymore when he's just blowing on the food before he feeds it to her. He's tied up, and he's just like made some beans and whatever.
He made chili.
Yeah, he made chili. And he's just like blowing on this shit and then giving it to me on the spoon. And I was like, can't make this movie anymore. Like, it's just, you can't do it. And then it came back full circle when it's like, now he's, like, it's a little bit more than just like, he's fixing the step, he's repairing, like he's changing the oil and fixing the radiator and doing all that stuff. It's more like how he insists that now she's going to give batting a go, and she's like, "No, I can't do this." And he's like, "You are doing it." Like he doesn't say like you are doing it like a hostage.
Yeah, there's no threat of violence.
Yeah, there's
or
no
physicality
threat of violence
behind
there,
it.
but she's also going to have to do it. Like there's no real out here. He's making it so uncomfortable not to do it that she kind of has to, and will enjoy. Like let's get things straight. Like when they're all done playing baseball and she's had her go batting, she probably had a great time. But that's the problem. The problem is assertive man tells woman what to do and she enjoys it in the end. Wasn't she so silly for having objected in the first place? Kind of vibe. That's what I'm just getting at. And I'm not saying that the movie is toxic masculinity or anything bad. I'm just saying that feminists, even nice ones, won't really love the vibe. That's all I'm trying to get to. And so I could see how like half of critics or whatever would just go, yeah, I don't really, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Where we are like, he's showing him how to be a gentleman. He's what's the word? He's teaching via doing instead of whatever. Like he's just
he's a role model.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
role
leading
model.
by example.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. He's leading by example. He just starts cooking. Like he just cooks everyone dinner. He doesn't ask like, you guys like chili? He just like he makes
Does anyone mind if I start using your ingredients?
He gives her the top crust of the pie, and he's like, do it. Like you do it.
Yeah, put a roof on this house.
Put a roof over this house. And a metaphor the shit out of this line.
Yeah.
Nailed it. And then you know, it's that vibe is what I'm trying to get to. Anyway, moving on. Love the movie. Like really like it. But this time around, I definitely had more
To pick
vexed
apart.
feelings about the brick, the kid.
Yeah.
About him.
Look, it's not that we don't like. It's not that we. Actually, wait, no.
You don't like kids. You
To jump
can't-
in.
Don't lie to our viewers.
This movie made off the back of Dressmaker, this film, and also just remembering Steve Jobs the other week. I want to watch more Kate Winslet movies. She's absolutely fantastic.
Right?
And I'm not sure I've seen enough of her work, so I'm going to rectify that.
We should do Titanic.
No, we should not.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
That's a long movie for me. No, you know what we should do actually? Is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
seen it.
It's on the
That's
list.
firstly example of a manic pixie dream girl, but also a great film. Interesting psychological. Who's the
Jim
director?
Carrey. Oh
No, no,
Who else is in it? Jim Carrey.
Charlie Kaufman, the writer. So expect, but it's a really great film.
I won't expand too much on the thoughts I've just chipped away at over the course of our discussion, but I do want to give shout out to the casting director for finding Tom Lipinski, who looks identical to Josh Brolin as a young man. I'm convinced that he was like the VO was still done by Josh.
Like they'd done some face stuff.
And he was just mouthing to it. I was trying to look for it by the end of the film, and I'm not sure if it was that was the case, but if that was his voice, Tom's voice, then he was absolutely nailing a young Josh Brolin as Frank. Yeah, that's all I want to say. I think it's a fantastic film. There's a reason why when you guys mentioned you hadn't seen it, I was like, it's not streaming anywhere, so I'm going to buy it because it's worth the purchase.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane.
My pleasure.
It was a peach of a film. A peach.
Peach.
Oh my god.
Labor Day, it's not available on any streaming services, but it is well worth the few dollars that it would take to rent this one. Dear viewer, highly recommend that you go and check it out for yourself.